Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a 3 versus 3 on Airport, and I'm going to be playing with the 27th Guards Motor Rifle Division. I wanted to share this game with you guys today because it was an incredibly good game, nicely balanced, and just a lot of fun. It also gives me a chance to show off the 27th Guards in a team game scenario. So yeah, as you can see, the game is underway and the Spetsnazovka are going to be leading the charge. They have really good capability against enemy infantry. They also have an AT launcher, so they're able to take out enemy transports that come nearby. They get the forward deployment, so they're able to ambush quite nicely. And they're going to be following that up with a couple of BTR ATs with the Motostragi Metis. We've got a BTR ATK that's been capturing back sectors and going to be trying to capture the sectors near the airports. We've got some UAZs, which are bringing in Conquer's M's. Conquer's M's are currently exclusive to the 27th Guards. So we're going to be trying to make good use of those. And I've also got the AT gun here, the Sprut, which is basically a T-72 gun on an AT gun platform. Then we've got a Strela 10M3 coming up. This is the upgraded version of the Strela 10M, which has 60% accuracy and 3,000 meter range. The other thing that's nice about the Strela 10M is it can fire just as accurately on the move, and is something that I would recommend you try and take advantage of if you have them. Same with normal Strelas. Strelas in general have the same accuracy on the move as they do when they're still, so you can just fast move towards an enemy aircraft and shoot it down that way. Then we have an Akataya back here. This is the 2S3M1 version of the Akataya, which has guided shells, so it's extremely accurate when it has access to radio, which is provided by recon units. Anyway, in this case, BO-105 going to snipe one of my BTR ATs. I move forwards with Strela 10M, shoot it down. Meanwhile, Motostragi Metis engaging the two scimitars that push towards us. So managing to get a little bit of a good engagement there early on, destroying a couple of cheaper units. Now going to be using my recon information from the Spetsnazovka to engage the scouts. So the nice thing about these Spetsnazovka is they get the shock trait and they also get the GSR trait. So they're great recon, but they're really good at close range against enemy infantry, and they also have the RPG-26, which is a really accurate, fast-firing AT weapon, so really good at taking out those transports, as I mentioned. Unfortunately, my Spetsnazovka are spotted by the scouts right now, so they are going to have to evacuate the air control tower and get into the buildings next door. So we're not going to be able to see the effectiveness of the Akataya, but you can see how accurate that thing is. They were specifically in this building, and that's getting smashed hard by that artillery. But at least it would have forced him to move the scouts, and if not, I've killed them. So the Spetsnazovka can now jump back into the air control tower and continue to spot enemy units. But we can see in this case the scouts are going to get away with a couple men as they retreat. Strela 10M going to be joining the one I already have. We also have a Tor on the way. This is the really cool missile system that fires up, and then the missile activates and chases the aircraft or helicopter it's after. Really cool anti-aircraft piece. And then we've got the T-80BV following that up. So my plan right now is to set up enough AA so I don't have to worry so much about the Apaches, and then I can push forwards aggressively with my armor and contest the Abrams at closer ranges. Now, this might look quite open, but there's a lot of breaks in line of sight due to all of the buildings on the airfield, so it's not as cut and dry. But lovely cluster strike here comes in from the Su-22 of Yag-Source, manages to take out an M1A1HA with that, and it's going to survive. So huge win there for Yagd, and he's taken the other one down to just 3 health, which is going to give me some significant pressure in the center as soon as my T-80BV arrives. But I am going to, of course, have to follow that up with some sort of infantry, or at least push forwards with some infantry as well at the same time. So that's something that I've also kind of got to wait on. Now with WARNO, a lot of the maps are extremely big, and it does mean that your reinforcements can take quite a long time sometimes to get to the front line. So timing your pushes well is definitely important. In this case, Yeah, just taking advantage of the fact that both of those M1A1HAs were right next to each other with that cluster aircraft. But ideally, if that were my own cluster aircraft, I'd want to try and do it in time with my push. Cluster aircraft coming in there from our opponent, the F-111E, going to get shot down, however, by the very accurate Strela 10Ms, and I'm able to just move them freely away from that aircraft as it comes in, because they are just as accurate, as I mentioned before, on the move as they are when stationary. M1A1 Abrams CP is in the backside of the sector, so we're still kind of outnumbered tank-wise, but I'm going to try and make a little bit of a play here to get across the airfield and into the buildings on the other side. So this Motostrelki is going for that push. These Motostrelki that were already in position on the left trying to now move up. BTR-80 has been spotted by the M2 Bradley, so that will be taken out by the TOW 2. And while I'm pushing the Motostrelki forwards, I'm trying to get the Strela 10 M3 on target of the Kiowa so we can get rid of that exceptional recon, because that's going to be a problem moving forwards. Conquer's M going to reply with the kill onto the M2 Bradley there. That was nice. But Strela 10M's now moving back as the M1A1s move forwards. I don't want to let them get picked off by those tanks. Also the Motostrelki trying to get back to cover, as what was an open ground push turns out to be a bad idea, apparently. Well, who'd known? Anyway, the nice thing about that initially was that it showed me that there wasn't really much threat for the Strela 10Ms, because there wasn't anything firing at them whilst they were like halfway across the airfield. But now the M1A1s move forwards, it's obviously a bit of a different matter. And I still need to kill off this Apache. So that Apache is a problem for my OP here. Trying to move my Strelas in a way in which they don't put themselves in harm's way of the M1A1, but are still able to be in range and fire. And we do manage to take out the AH-64 thanks to that strategy. Motostrelki Metis trying to do their best against the M1A1, but haven't landed a single HGM yet. Going to be replacing the Motostrelki that I lost in this building. That's pretty important. I've also brought up some new Specialvedka on this side of the airfield as well. Conquer's M going to be finding the kill onto the Marder 1A3 Milan. TATBV also looking to land some HGMs, but loses line of sight, so that one goes flying off into the middle of nowhere. So we're under a lot of pressure here as both Guan Yu and Open Fire start pushing me across the open. And now the worst thing happens. My T-80BB gets tracks broken in the middle of the airfield. It's going to pop its smoke to try and keep itself safe temporarily, but is in a very, very bad position. Thankfully, Open Fire is going to be falling back from that, so the T-80BV might just have enough time to fix its tracks and fall back before it gets killed off. The smoke does not last as long as it takes for the tracks to be fixed, so as you can see, the smoke has now cleared and there's 22 seconds left on the clock. Best case for me, bring up another T-80BV and try and keep them away from the T-80 while it fixes itself. All the while, Eagle firing a missile right through the camera there towards the Seed aircraft. Seed aircrafts generally have very high ECMs, so that's not going to be able to get the job done. But the T-80BV now fixed up and able to reverse. Nice rocket artillery coming in here from the Grads. They're looking for the counter battery onto the enemy mortars. But all the while, I am also being flanked by Treetop on the left-hand side. So I'm in a position where I'm being pushed on by Open Fire and Guan Yu, and I'm being flanked by Treetop on the left-hand side as he moves up M2 Bradleys. That's mainly because Yagt is going for this entire all-in push onto Alpha, and Treetop hasn't really realized probably how many troops are on this side just yet, so he's constantly investing into this sort of town area on the left side of the airfield. But all the while, I'm having to deal with quite a lot of units. Teammate on the right is currently just holding position here, waiting for them to come through the tree lines, but obviously they're not. So yeah, the majority of the forces have ended up in the middle up against me, and that is kind of a tough position to be in, but currently not losing any points for it. We're 378 points to 6 in terms of score. and I haven't really relinquished any ground. The main concern for me right now is them having a leader coming into the backside of this sector like just happened there, because they have the 2 Panzergrenadiers to kind of hold the line temporarily. Mi-24K and Mi-24V going to be coming in here, looking to try and kill off some of these M2 Bradleys so that I can then push infantry in there without being harassed by those APCs. TATBV, meanwhile, still providing an engagement against the M1HAs in the open. You can see the Akadzaya here coming in with a really accurate artillery onto that Abrams, and if it hadn't moved would probably be dead by now. So good reactions by open fire to get that out of there. All the while we are being pressured a little bit by the Panzergrenadiers. BTR 80K has now moved behind this bunker instead to make sure that it's not spotted. T80 is going to try and help provide a bit of fire support on the left hand side, but on the left, unfortunately my helicopter did get shot down by the Stingers that have moved up through the town. So my helicopters, unfortunately, at this point, less effective, and I'm going to be forced to invest the T-80BV in order to support a push into that sort of town area on the left-hand side. The rocket artillery going to be smashing the backside of the sector here at close range like that, or closer range like that. Those grads can be very effective. In this case, not effective enough to take out the leader, but probably did some significant damage to it. Meanwhile, you can see that my artillery is coming in here and managing to take out the Bradley as it is left idle. My BTR 80K trying to move in onto the backside of the sector, just about manages to get stealth in time to stop us from losing that. Now with us contesting on the left hand side, Treetop's going to be having his ire drawn there, which is good, and I'm going to be able to just focus on dealing with the 2 guys in the middle. Unfortunately, Toe does end up getting line of sight on the BTR again and landing a strike. Meanwhile, F-111 coming in with the cluster ends up getting shot down by the MiG-31s. Cluster is going to do a little bit of damage to my Conquerors M, not enough to kill them off entirely. Now the Redvedka squad going to be moving forwards, revealing enemy infantry, allowing the T-80BV to get on target. I've got a second T-80BV on the way. I've also got some infantry coming in that can deal with the enemy APCs at closer range. But constantly trying to get my Akadzaya on target of these tanks. If I can keep chipping them, it's going to make it a lot easier for me to finish them off with any HGMs. But 2 Leopard 2A3s have now joined the Abrams in the centre as Guan Yu and Open Fire get prepared once again to make another push. Chaparral does go down to the T-80BV on the left though, which is a good kill for me. Got to try and remove as much of the AA in this area as possible, because then I can use my Mi-24 again. At the moment, Conquerors M's, they are really the key to kind of breaking down this large amount of armour. The Conquerors M does have 23 penetration, which is, I think, 3 more than the standard Conquerors. It does make a big difference in these sort of engagements. The M1A1HA there, you can see, is seriously hurting. BTR 80 is in a little bit of trouble back here, but you can see I've moved it once again to hide behind another building. I am going to unfortunately lose that Conquerors M. This one, second one, out of ammo. Grad going to be hitting the M1A1 Abrams hard there. I'm going to be making a play with the T-80BVs. Try and push in whilst the majority of those tanks are low on health. Big problem, of course, is they still have a lot more tanks than I do if both of them work together. But all the while, I am now bringing in more units on the left-hand side here. BMP-2 going to be engaging the infantry that were in those buildings. Dropped off the Modostralki. Dragon still going to be something for my BMP-2 to deal with. I think we can, because this is just a normal dragon, I think it would take 2 hits to kill a BMP-2. If it was a Dragon 2, I think it only takes 1. So in this case, BMP-2AG quite happy to just continue that engagement. Meanwhile, Su-24 coming in with the cluster strike on the right side of the airfield here will take out the Gepard, but does end up trading for that. Tor comes in, or sorry, Weasel comes in, kills the Tor with its seed missile, ends up going down for it as the Strela-10Ms finish it off. T-80BV is in trouble though, as it gets very, very low on health. Unfortunately, not going to be much I can do about the advance of 3 M1A1HA Abrams. These are the best tanks that the US have to offer. The Leopard 2A3s are like the second best that the Germans have to offer in this game, so I'm up against a lot of really high tier tanks here in the center, and I'm trying my best to hold them off. BTR-80K only just staying alive in the backside of this sector, but under constant mortar fire. It's only a matter of time until that goes down, and the shot lands on target there, and we are going to lose that. Rocket artillery once again smashing the backside of their sector, but the push is coming through well on this left hand side, with Treetop being distracted up here by Yag's push. I am making significant ground back into this position. The 2 AGs providing great fire support, as they have both their autocannon and their grenade launcher that they can put on target. Also these Motostrauki providing adequate screening for the vehicles, so I'm able to keep them quite close. But with the majority of this left side kind of rooted out, the T-80s are going to slowly make their way over to the right hand side so that I can start to build up an equal number of tanks against our enemy. At least that was the plan. T-80BV here going to be finishing off the tow. Motostrauki going to be able to continue to push through the town there. All the while, Akitsaya is going to be firing off the remainder of its rounds. And an Su-17, I also had that come in. The KH-29T optical missile does take out one of the M1A1HAs. Eagle going to reply with the kill. Nice thing about that Su-17 is they are very cheap. And you can see they have now brought up another, and that's going to be looking for another kill onto an M1A1HA, and boom, just like that, second M1A1HA goes down as I find the side armor hit with the Su-17. Whenever you're using an aircraft like this, it doesn't have to be an Su-17, but any aircraft with an air-to-ground missile that's going for armor, try and get those side shots. Look at where the enemy is reversing or moving, and bring the aircraft in from a vector where it can land a sweet side shot. A good kill onto Leopard 2A3 there is going to cost the Su-24M its life, however. But as long as we can keep chipping away at these super heavy tanks, they are going to have a limited number. And that only increases my numbers advantage when it comes to T-80BVs. So at the moment, we're probably still equal on total numbers, but we've got more kills than they have. So over time, as long as we continue to get more kills, we will eventually get to the point where our T-80BVs are larger in number as well, and then we can make a significant push across the airfield potentially to get the job done. Also, what's nice is my teammates now come over and is helping me push this objective, because there's not too much pressure coming through on this right hand side. So able to both now focus holding back Guan Yu and open fire. All the while, I'm going to be continuing my engagement with Treetop in this town though, as the BMP-2AG is going to support the Motostrauki moving forwards. I'm also bringing up some more Sapori, another BMP-2AG to get through that town. The BRDM manages to get into the backside of the sector. MI8 is going to be thrashing these mech rifles. BTR-80 is trying to move over to get some shots on target there as well. But at the moment we're in a nice position because we've managed to completely secure this sector again. I'm still in a position where I can probably get a contesting command into this sector. And we now have full control of the sector on the left. And MiG-29 coming in there for the head-on with the F-15. Unfortunately, the F-15 is able to kill off my Su-17, but the MiG, with the help of the book that come in from Jagd, is going to shoot down the Eagle. And killing an Eagle is great for us. It really, really is. So now Conkers M plus 2 T-80Bs, engaging with all the HGMs they have. Got to be careful not to sacrifice my Conkers M unnecessarily. Under that much fire from Abrams, they're going to be in a bad spot. So move them out and just trying to fall back with this T-80BB as it's being pushed on pretty hard. But now I'm back in cover here. Those HGMs can do their job. Unfortunately, enemy artillery is going to take out a leader in this area, but we are able to take out an M1A1 there as it retreats. The Sprut there finding the side shot into the M1. Very, very nice kill. All the while, on the left, the BMP-2s getting finally into position. Motostrauki RPG-27s. Trying to push up. So slowly but surely chipping away here. Yag's fully controlled this sector. So we're basically stretching treetop thin on the left hand side. And it's just a standard 2v2 in the middle. I've got BMP-2 coming in. Trying to make good use of these. Like, trying to utilize your BMP-2 AGs effectively is incredibly important in this division. In the 27th, if you don't make good use of the transports, can be very lackluster, because then it just becomes T-80BVs backed up by decent AA. And that's fine and all, but as you can see, we are outclassed by the M1A1s and the Leopard 2A3s, so it's really difficult for me to make significant ground. Artillery coming in there trying to break down my AA, just so that they can get airstrikes onto my tanks. Yeah, the main way to utilize the BMP-2 AGs is in these sort of mid-range engagements, particularly in the range of the grenade launcher. So you can get the grenade launcher on target, and then you can pin down any infantry that would be potentially getting shots on you. So these Dragon squads, for example, that keep firing HGMs at me, if I can get the 30mm and the grenade launcher on target, it's likely that I will pin down the enemy infantry before their HGM lands on target, and that is really important. The other thing, of course, is making sure your infantry is screening your APCs in the first place so you don't get ambushed. But here the Sprut getting some good hits onto the Abrams. Unfortunately, with the Kiowa there, the Spetsnazvedka do finally get spotted, so they're going to get wiped out. But we are now sitting at the +4, and you can see that the score has gone heavily in our favour. 1,230 points and counting. We are not done yet, though. Trust me. You can see that I'm continuing to make a bit of a push here. Motostrauki moving in, looking to get on top of the sniper, on top of these toes. If I can kill off the toes, then I'm quite happy to move forwards the 2 AGs. The main reason the 2 AGs are moving over to the right now is because of all of those HGMs. So whilst I was saying that, you know, there is a potential that your BMP-2 AG will pin down those squads and support weapon teams before they get hit themselves, there's no real need to do that in this case, because my Motostrauki are more than capable of dealing with these targets themselves. Nice use by the MiG-31s by my teammate there. But unfortunately, once again, significant artillery coming in to this side of the sector is going to take that away from us. Su-25 coming in there for the strike onto the 2A3. Very nice indeed. Also managed to shoot down a VO-105. So Good strike by the Su-25. But a massive push coming through right now. I'm going to have to think about shifting some of my T-80 BVs over. But all the while, this does kind of leave open, potentially, some room on the left-hand side for me to make ground. I do have a bunch of T-80s there. These ones currently just trying to finish off the TOW 2 so that we can move forwards unharassed. I've also managed to get myself into this sector. There's potential for me to contest this at some point, but that would require me moving a leader all the way up through the town there on the left-hand side. And the main reason I'm not engaging here right now is just because we don't really have enough recon to like effectively engage these 2A3s and head on the 2A3s, particularly 3 of them, is going to be a big problem. A HE bomber now coming in. Seed going to be hanging about, looking for the rocket on target of the PVADs. Not going to be able to find it, but with that bombing strike coming through, you can see that I am going to be trying to react to that and deal with the Leopard 2A3s. The nice thing about the bombing strike, and the reason it's so important in this scenario, is because it reduces the cohesion of the Leopards, and because they don't have autoloaders, it actually reduces their rate of fire. Whereas for the Soviets, if they have low cohesion, they still have high rate of fire, even if they have less accuracy. So in these sort of close range engagements, accuracy is not so much of a problem because you're so close. But yeah, not able to take advantage of that in the end anyway. Now T-8M coming over, that's going to be launching some of those VulcanHDGems. We're looking for kills onto these M1A ones. You can see I am able to kill one there as we fly overhead, also able to take out a second with the help of the Conquer's M. I am going to be losing one of my poor Strellas, but the Conquer's M here definitely putting in work. Now the T-8M coming in with those Viking missiles, unfortunately smoke forcing me off. Conquer's M getting another shot off, but line of sight breaks, so no kill. But as you can see, that push that they made across here has worked temporarily, as we have lost control on the left-hand side. So Yag's command has been destroyed or moved out temporarily, and so we're now losing to a +4. Now, of course, I still have a good position here, so I can definitely try and get a leader up there. I do have the T-80 BVK nearby, but of course, the first thing I want to do is maybe try and contest this sector. I've just got to get rid of this Apache, because that Apache is kind of difficult for me to deal with right now. It does have a lot of Hellfires. So MiG-29, going to commit there, take it out. Rocket artillery coming in once again. With that Apache down, I can maybe get the T-80 BVK in there. Also got another Strela 10M on the way, just in case. But at the moment, a lot of these T-80 BVs, can't really use them. They're all very, very low on health, and we're constantly getting hit by artillery, so that's not helping either. These Seed aircraft, not really able to find any significant kills. But the Harrier is at least going to get shot down by one of the books. The main thing at the moment is just trying to consolidate my armor, get it fixed up, and then we can think about making another push. But at the moment, F-15 coming in there. Going to be dealing with my Mi-24, or at least, you know, making it low enough health that it's only one-shot kill. Strela trying to get into position. The MP2's on their way with the Motostrauki. I'm getting a message from my teammate to push into here, and I can very much do that. But I don't have any infantry in position at the moment to move on these buildings. And just like what happened here, having the infantry in position is super important, because you can see that there is an M40 recoilless that's moved in here. There's also some infantry with AT weapons in here. And if I just like willy-nilly drive my T-80s up, they're going to get side shots and killed. So I obviously don't want that to happen. So what I'm going to do instead, we're just going to drive my T-80, not up the road because it's too obvious. We're just going to drive across the open and try and get into a position here to contest this sector, just because I did have a very good presence here. You can see my motorstrike actually really far up in that position. All they need is a bit of AA cover and then the leader to contest that. These motorstrike now arriving, at least going to allow us to try and contest the sector on our side of the airfield, and then maybe I can get another leader that can push into their side of the airfield. So far been a very interesting game, especially like since the start, where I had to deal with the 2 players initially and also the flank from the 3rd player. Then my teammate came over, helped sort of level the playing field in the center, and just due to Yag's pressure on the left, I'm able to break through the sort of city/town area here. But it's been really cool so far tactically. We're now in a pretty good position, as my T-80 BVK actually manages to full cap this sector because I didn't have a leader in there. And so we're now actually up to a +2 again, but you can see that due to the +4 for them for a while, they are actually back up to 1,038 points. So not too far behind still. Motorstrike now going to be moving forwards. Don't have to worry too much about the cluster. It will definitely lower their cohesion if they get hit by it. And I'm currently just relying on the timing here in order to get the T-80 BVK into the backside of that sector. Buratino going to be trying its best to smash the backside once again. Hoping that we can take out the leader there as my T-80 comes in, because that would give us a very nice advantage. Once again, Apache comes in looking for the kill onto the T-80 BVK. Strela 10M3 does do the job, and I also get the MiG to help out and finish it off. That MiG super important in that situation. Can't let those Apaches stick around, otherwise they will just kill everything. But here, Fuchs trying to move forwards and spot the T-80 BVK, and you can see that I did move forwards preemptively as I sort of knew that they would try and snipe that with artillery. This T-80's sitting nicely here. 2AG actually manages to land a Conker's missile onto the Marder 1A3, so we get a free kill there. But planes coming in. T-80 BVK unfortunately bailed out by a shot from the M1A1 Abrams. Not really going to be much I can do to save that. Bombing strike eviscerating my forces on the backside there. These T-80s still waiting to get fully fixed up, so not really able to support my position there. Maybe a little bit premature of me to try and get the T-80 BVK into position. Now this T-80 BVK also being hit by artillery constantly, as the Aufklärer do spot the position of it. I have kind of developed my position here, as you can see. 3 Strela 10M3s in position. We also have some ZU-23-2s to deal with enemy helicopters. I've got plenty of the BTR-80 APCs to help us provide fire support to enemy infantry. My Motostraki Metz in a good position here, looking to kill off the Chaparral. So we're doing alright. Unfortunately, the T-80 BVK in this case, I'm just going to fall it back completely. Like, the artillery that was constantly coming in on this was pointless for me to try and avoid at this point, because if I try and go forwards, I'm just going to bump into all the reinforcements that are currently coming in. I am going to lose a T-80 BV there to the Thunderbolt. That was unfortunate because all of my Strela 10Ms fell back with the T-80 BVK. So we're still in a bit of a predicament here. Our opponents actually managing to get a +2 in their favor once again. Got a leader into Alpha, so things are no longer at a tie. The BTR-80 is trying to move up. Since they were pushing with the engineer with flash launchers, I was hoping the BTR-80s would be able to engage those unharassed, but there is another HGM squad further back that is causing problems. In the center, Thunderbolt's going to be moving up, trying to take out the T-80 PVs, and you can see that I'm really struggling to push in from this direction. So finally going to be just shifting from this location round so that I can support the T-80BVK here and maybe move into this sector instead, because pushing all the way up to here is just not sustainable. They are so much closer to their spawn on that side of the map than I am, and what that means, like, eventually I'm just going to get overwhelmed. So instead, as you see, what I did was fall back the T-80BVK. I've got it fixed up, and now I'm going to be trying to move into this sector once again, while my ally on the right hand side tries to hold off the enemy team there. But we're back to the +2 as we do contest this sector again. The Axos has managed to push out the leader that was contesting on the left hand side. So things happening all over the place. And finally it's time to secure my position in the backside of this sector. With so much emphasis being on the right side, I'm going to just push in on this left side. I've got a couple of Mi-24s that are going to be joining me. I've got plenty of AA here. We've got the T-80BVs. The only thing I'm missing really is infantry, which I should have probably invested in sooner, but alas. We are going to be able to get the T-80BVK in there, and having contested both this sector and this sector, we're now at a +4. Mechanized rifles are going to reveal themselves regardless, so we do have the Mi-24K here for recon, so it's not like I'm completely blind. But ideally having infantry to secure these compounds would be really, really nice to have. You see, I have brought up a ton of supply, just so that I don't have the same issue that I had here, where I had a bunch of tanks that weren't repaired for so long. Artillery, of course, coming in. The Akatayas trying to do their best to get some nice accurate shots on target. Unfortunately, when you're playing against decent players, the Akatayas with the guided rounds are actually more of a detriment than anything else, because they're so accurate, they're very easy to avoid. Whereas if you have like larger dispersion, then there's more like luck involved when it comes to hitting them. Anyway, you can see I had to pop a load of smoke here because the A10 Thunderbolt came in. We did manage to shoot that down thanks to all of my AA. The M1 Abrams goes down on the left hand side there, which is stopping some of the contest. I'm trying to get on top of the M1A1s back here, but we are of course getting hit by artillery all the same. T-80BVK trying to continue to contest. Right side of the airfield completely under control of the enemy right now, but only 2 minutes left on the clock, so they are very much on a time limit, and I've just got to continue to contest the airfield here on the left side, and we should be absolutely fine. But for now, just going to be shifting back my T-80BVs. You can see I'm moving them back into like a line formation just so that they can meet up with my Urals. I've now brought in a bunch of infantry, actually recon infantry, which is even better. The Razvedka Separi are very, very capable of taking care of themselves against enemy infantry. So whilst they are a recon squad, they are also decent against infantry, and that is exactly what I need right now, because I've got plenty of T-80s that are good against enemy armor. I just don't have the infantry to actually secure the compounds. MiG-31s once again coming in there, saving the day against the F-111E. My MiG-21 finishing off one of them himself. My forces on the left slowly got taken out, but we have made a pretty awesome position here with all of these T-80s as Martyrs try and push towards me. I'm just trying to keep things spread out. Anytime one of these gets damaged, they can fall back and get repaired. You see now we're moving up the BTR-80s as well to help out. We got really, really good line of sight. The T-80s just absolutely destroying the Marder 1A3s. Weasel's going to get shot down by one of my Strelas. The Strelas not being able to be targeted by Seed aircraft because they are not radar. A Tornado IDS coming in. That's going to get hit and shot down. We got a couple of T-8s coming in. Cluster strike coming in from the enemy. But that's going to be the end of the game as we hit time limit and win. that was an epic game. It really, really was, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. 7,605 kills to 5,660 losses in the end. Strela 10Ms doing really, really good work for me throughout this game. The Conquer's M's as well. Picking up like an M1A1HA kill will make a Conquer's M worth it. The Akatsayas provided decent fire support throughout the game. Sometimes their accuracy was actually getting the better of them, but at least one did kill an M1A1, so that's always a really, really nice kill for them to get. The T-80s, of course, some of them hanging around for quite a while and getting a decent number of kills, but nothing too much of value. I was having a really, really hard time dealing with the M1A1 HAs, but at least both my SG-17s picked up one each, and the Sprut also side shot one of them, which was really, really good. This T-8M went absolutely ham, killing two of them. So it was mostly down to my Air Force and other support weapons that took care of the heavy tanks for me, while the T-80 BVs were just kind of like a punching bag. They were there to hold the ground. And yeah, I think it worked out pretty well in the end. Really, really fun. And a nice sort of maneuver warfare going on in this one, particularly having to deal with multiple players, dealing with the flanking attack, then pushing back, and all that good stuff. Really, really nice game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.